Hi friends, my name is Dr. Molly and I am the founder and chiropractor at Living Adjusted Family Wellness Center, and I'm here today with Jennifer. She's the executive director of Common Ground Collective here on Maui, and we're going to have a little chat about what her organization is doing to make a difference on the island, the status of agriculture and sustainability here, and what we can do to help promote more sustainability for all of us. So we'll just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your background.
So I am first a mother, and then my son is 11 years old. I have my degree in sustainable science management and also studied permaculture design. And then I also work as a legislative analyst at the county. So I kind of have a pretty broad background as far as education goes. And the sustainable science management course focused on, many different disciplines, but my main passion was agriculture.
Cool. And we'll just talk a little bit about how I found you. You posted a video on the Common Ground Collective Instagram about beauty standards and the way that produce is being thrown away if it doesn't look a certain way, and how that affects us as a society. And do you want to just chat a little bit about that and the passion behind the produce?
Yeah, so I think most people now, they go into, the stores and we see like produce looks really perfect, and then a lot of the times we're taking that produce home and it doesn't have much flavor or taste to it. There's not really like any depth to it. And so as I started going out and harvesting and in the fields and in people's, backyards, and seeing the produce that I was harvesting was not as pretty, but so delicious and flavorful and juicy. I kind of started looking at kind of like what the different standards are for produce, and saw the similarities between, our food and just our everyday beauty standards for people. We have filters nowadays. Everybody has to be filtered, and teeth are bleached, and your hair has to be a certain way, your eyebrows have to be a certain way, and it's really kind of overwhelming. And if you're not fitting this package, you're kind of like on the outskirts, you're not as marketable. And that's kind of happened. It's like bled over into our food to where farmers aren't able to sell produce if it isn't fitting in these boxes of what a tomato should look like, or what a orange should look like, or a cucumber. And in reality, like, nature is as diverse as humans are. There's, blemishes or appendages or, weird growths and things, and it doesn't make the food any different, really. It just is not as appeasing because of these standards. So we decided to kind of start bringing awareness to that, so that hopefully we can change that and get more of like natural produce into the grocery stores, so that farmers, aren't having to, discard this produce that doesn't fit it. And it also helps with, not needing as many inputs for your farming practices if you're not having to meet these kind of standards. Also helps with like the varieties and biodiversity in our food systems, because we're so used to seeing one or two varieties of a food. Like, in the grocery store, you might see Hass avocados only, but there's like 300 different kinds of avocados.
Which I never knew before I moved to Maui. I've only had Hass avocados prior to living here.
And while they're nice, they're tiny and not that great.
I love Maui avocados.
And then the avocados in Maui are huge.
And juicy and buttery.
Juicy and buttery and creamy. And like, why are we not seeing those in the store? And there are some local grocery stores like Foodland, Mana, and Down to Earth, and these places are carrying local produce, but I guess I'm talking more of like on a bigger plane.
So what does CGC do for Maui as far as creating awareness?
So our organization focuses on three things: food security, economic opportunities, and promoting like education about our food system.
Cool.
So those are the three areas that we work on. So this campaign is just one of the things that we decided to do, and we decided to do it for Earth Day to kind of like raise awareness about that, because there's so many things that we think are beautiful in nature that we want to highlight, and I think natural food is one of them.
I love that. How are you supporting farmers on Maui?
So we like work with farmers to try and help them with market connections, try and persuade local businesses to carry more locally grown produce. We also can try and help. We have a foster farming project with the one part of it that we've started, which is the harvesting portion. So I go around and harvest food from people's yards that would otherwise rot.
Whoa.
And then we get it out to market.
That's amazing.
So
I want you to do that to our yard. Not
by
mine, but-
yeah, by market I mean there's two choices. So they can either donate it, in which the case we do it for free. I go out, harvest it, and get it out to community organizations in the form of donations, or we can try and sell it for them.
Cool.
And so we sell it to local grocery stores and things like that. And we also sell to farmers to help supplement their own supply.
Sweet.
So a lot of farmers are doing the work already to, you know, market straight to consumers. We kind of help fill in those gaps too and help them have more to sell. And then just like opportunities for grant funding and things that they could get.
So we chatted a little bit prior to recording all of this, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the pulse on farming on Maui specifically, like conventional versus organic, and just where we're at that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really a difficult topic to talk about because it's become so polarized here because of just the history here, you know, the plantation era and how it you know, basically changed the entire dynamic of the island, which before that was like a shared economy and really focused on protecting natural resources and that resources were for everybody. And then it kind of transitioned over into this capitalistic system that kind of took over pretty forcefully. So that is kind of the history that we're coming from. And now we're seeing a lot of the effects of the commercialization of agriculture on a global scale that has really been magnified here in this small island community. I think that there's a lot of polarization in our food system, which is really unfortunate because I think a lot of the players within the food system, like individually, are really amazing people that are really working hard. So it's finding a way to promote education and awareness of how we can kind of work together towards the greater solution, which is like, you know, making sure that our resources are protected and that we have enough food for the community, but also, you know, making sure that we're not leaving anybody behind during that is kind of like where we
honoring
everybody, because farming is such a hard job to tell people that they're not doing it right or doing it wrong. And not offering solutions or assistance is, I don't feel super helpful to it. But I do agree that it needs to be addressed. We need to find a way to move forward so that there is a better balance and so that we are making sure that, you know, our resources are being protected and that nobody's being harmed by chemicals and things like that, not just now, but in the future as well.
Absolutely. And we chatted too about just the effects of farming can have. So you want to talk a little bit about that for the island, air pollution, water pollution, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, our regional food system is really connected to so many different things. You know, it's connected to the health and well-being of our average residents on like how easy it is to access nutritious, affordable food. And then, you know, as far as like the ecosystem health, things that we all use for our mental wellness as well, that plays a part in it. It also plays a part in our economy. You know, right now we're importing upwards of 80 to 90% of our food in Hawaii state, but we have a year-round growing season and adequate rainfall and, you know, the ability to grow more food. But the way, you know, the system has been set up or has evolved over the years, it really just hasn't been conducive to encourage more people to grow food.
Totally.
The land is really expensive to buy, so farmers, you know, a lot of farmers are landless farmers here. They're aging farmers if they do have land because it's so expensive and, if you have one or two bad crops, that means you could basically be out of business. And for, somebody that's a little younger, like, say mid-30s, like I am, to try and use your savings to buy property or lease property,
it's a big risk.
It's a huge risk,
Yeah.
And then you can kind of forget vacations and all that other things. I just think that the system in general hasn't translated very well into the modern day age. And, and then another problem is that we do have a lot of agricultural land here that, because it's so expensive, it has been bought for other things like commercial development and rezoned into different uses, or it's being bought for people to have, vacation homes or homes where they're not farming, or even by, local families or retirees that come over that would like to grow things but may not know how to or have the time or resources to do so. So we're losing all of that land. So that was one of the reasons that we started CGC, is because we saw everybody kind of directing their attention to the Central Valley and fighting over this huge plot of like commercial land for growing. And we were like, well, what about all these other plots of land that people are already paying taxes on? They have water, they're in good growing areas. Why aren't we not helping them so that we can create more wealth distribution too?
I love that. And I think too, people will utilize that if they knew the resources available. And so what are you guys doing right now as far as like outreach and getting the word out about your programs?
So because we're pretty new, we have not gotten a lot of funding. So we just do the best that we can. I have an amazing board, which is consisted of Therese Masters, who helped, found. She was one of the founders of Common Ground Collective with me. We have Ananda Stone, Nick Timpone, Jody Bowman, and Farron Cabral that are all super amazing. So we work really hard to do what we can with the very little that we have.
Yeah.
We do have the foster farming program. It's in its second year. Last year was the first year. We started kind of was like rocky, but we harvested around 5,000 pounds of food last year.
Oh my gosh.
And got it out to market. And our goal this year was to do 10,000 pounds for the year.
Sweet.
But we're at May.
Like a halt right now?
No, still going. Yeah.
Perfect.
So we're in May and we've harvested almost 8,000 pounds of food.
Yes, that's incredible.
So this is 8,000 pounds of food that would have otherwise rot, that we got out to the community in forms of donation or sales to local businesses.
Sweet.
So we're trying to use that as a model to show how much food really could be produced on this island. So these are just like...
What could be?
Yeah, so far I've had like 35 harvest visits. So almost 8,000 pounds in 35 harvests.
It's a lot.
And I'm walking away from those properties leaving thousands of pounds on the ground or in the trees, because I'm only one person and can only fit so much in my car.
Yeah.
So we really wanted to shed light through like the lowest hanging fruit that we could do with the littlest amount of resources possible, to show like if we really took these smaller properties seriously and made them little farms that we could help manage, we could pump out literally tons and tons of food into the community.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be benefiting a corporation that the profits are going off island. It would be benefiting moms and dads, grandmas, grandpas, aunts and uncles. Yeah. That's what we're doing right now.
I love that.
On top of like educational campaigns and, food giveaways and things, whatever we can do with the little resources that we have.
When are your food giveaways right now?
So right now we're working with Pukalani Superette, who's like amazing, and reached out, and they had done one with the county and wanted to do some more. So they reached out, and we have done Pukalani Elementary School. So we did 100 bags for families in need. And then this weekend, we're going to do one for Kalama Middle School. And then after that, we're going for Haiku Elementary School. And we're trying to put more down the line. So 100 bags per school.
Beautiful.
Which it's not a ton, but it's what we can do,
It is a lot, though.
And we're so thankful for Pukalani Superette and all the community, partners that are collaborating to do that with. Because we couldn't do it on our own.
Yeah,
absolutely
without
not.
the resources.
No.
It reminds me when you're talking about like all the food that would go to waste. I live on a property and we have tangerine trees, right? And the landlords are like, "Oh, go pick anything you want." And I've taken bags to people full of whole types of fruit, like just oranges, lemons, limes, anything. And still, the last time I went out there, there's so much on the ground. And then you pick some of them, and they're old because they've been on the tree forever, and we haven't harvested them. So it's just crazy to think about. It is true. We have the resources,
Yeah.
It's just not being utilized.
And I think, it's different when you see a tree and you're like, oh, it's dropping, and, you don't have the time to do it. A lot of people that this is happening to, they feel really bad, but they just don't know what to do with it.
Right.
They're like, I work or I have kids and I'm going to practices. I don't know what to do with this, even if I harvested it.
Yeah,
so
totally.
it's dropping, and they're, a lot of the times when I get called out, they're like, it's probably not that much, maybe 2 or 3 buckets, 50, 60 pounds at most. And I'm walking out of there with 300 or 400 pounds, and there's still more.
Insane.
And then you can just kind of see their heart break a little bit, because they didn't realize how much was actually rotting, you know? So I think it's really eye-opening for everybody. We're definitely not trying to make anybody feel guilty, because this is just like the reality is that, like, it's really hard to go out and harvest and then have 400 or 500 pounds of food and go, what am I going to do with this? Where am I taking this? So that's kind of what we're trying.
Yeah, you're streamlining it for people. It's really incredible. If somebody wanted to reach out to you and wanted to utilize your service, how do they do that?
So right now we just have the ability to do upcountry and North Shore. So Kula, Pukalani, Makawao, Haile Maile, Paia, Haiku, those areas at the moment, just because we haven't gotten the ability to expand. But they just go onto our website. So it's commongroundcollective.com. And under our services, there's the foster farming tab, and it explains the program and gives you a link to sign up, and you'll just submit that, and then I'll contact you and set up a day to come and harvest.
That's amazing. And any type of tree or any plant you're harvesting?
Yeah, so I go out and harvest whatever, people request, hoping to get to the point where we can have crews that, can go out and just like harvest whole properties at once. I mean, I have one property that I've been to multiple times now and harvested over 2,000 pounds just from one property. So
that's insane. 2,000 pounds sounds like a lot to me.
Yeah, so I have a Ford Escape, and when I lay the seeds down and I use the painter buckets, the 5-gallon painter buckets, that's what I fill. One of those is about 25 pounds, and I can fit about 14 of those in my car.
Wow.
So that's about 350 pounds.
Okay. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But there's so much more.
I love it.
So it really could be such a viable source of food for our community, if everybody started planting, mini orchards and, companion plants of herbs and things under the tree. We could really fill a lot of the demand for our community and help farmers fill their demands. And then also it's like, it just helps with like your own grocery bills. Like if you can trade that with your family and back and forth, it really creates a more sustainable society.
And it really highlights the abundance, of like nature and the island and sustainable practices. Like if we just utilized, what we have, the abundance that can be found there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I want to talk a little bit about, I feel like you're a very powerful woman in what you do, and I'm really inspired by the passion you have for farming. So do you want to talk about your practices, just like self-care practices, and how do you cultivate the passion for nature and for the land?
I'm probably the worst person to talk to about self-care practices because I'm just not great at it.
Yeah.
But I am passionate, and I think being a single mother, there's a lot of stigma around that, and that, if you're a single mother, really, you can't do much, you can't contribute much, and you can barely raise your kid. And that has been really kind of fuel for me, because I'm like, oh no, single mothers are amazing, and mothers in general are amazing. We can do so much and multitask, and things that when you move into the corporate world or the government, you see just kind of a lot of waste and lack of resourcefulness. And then when you bring a mom into that equation, they're like,
efficiency, everything. Let's bring it all in.
Yeah, make it really efficient. So, Therese, my friend and co-founder of Common Ground Collective, she's also a mother, and we're just it really gives us passion to show how much of a difference we can make, and be that kind of role model for our kids, and then also try and create this new world for our kids so that they can grow up and not have to, be kind of set to this world that of globalization where everything is from, chain stores and it's only this way, and you go to work and you come home and everybody has to fit this standard. That to us is kind of really scary,
Absolutely.
We really appreciate diversity. So doing what we can to, promote wealth distribution and diversity and, empowerment of communities, is what really drives me.
I love that.
So the self-care portion is really lacking. I'm working on it.
Awesome.
But I do take time to reconnect with nature. That's my one thing, is spending time with my son. And then, taking an evening walk or going on a hike or just jumping in the ocean when I can. Those are probably the things I do the most.
Keep you
to just,
centered.
it reminds me of what I'm fighting for.
Cool. That gave me chills. That's cool. Yeah, because it is a fight, we are, we're here to protect, the resources that we were given.
Yeah.
So I love seeing that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anything else on your heart that you would like to share with the community or somebody who may be interested in your services?
Yeah, I mean, just this is, we're an organization, so a lot of times I think people think that we're separate for the community, but I just want to let people know that we are literally just average people that saw a problem and are working really hard to fix that. And we can't do it alone. We're not, would never ever be able to change this alone. It takes so many people, and it really takes kind of this, organized effort on our community's part to say, this isn't serving us as a community anymore, and we need to kind of really look at how we can change that. And I think that's kind of what that video that you saw was really our plea is look, we have all these beauty standards and they're making all of us crazy, and we're letting that bleed into our food system. When does it stop? It's nice to be pretty and have these, expectations, but if you're losing the depth and the meaning and the flavor behind it, what's the point?
Totally. Then everything is tasteless.
It's tasteless and
it
pointless.
Is the chain,
right?
Right?
And you're like, what
am I doing?
There's amazing, beautiful girls that we see that are meeting all of these standards, but when you talk to them, what's there?
Totally.
What else do they have to offer? And so it's as an aging woman, I'm embracing the fact that I may not make those standards, but I've got more flavor to offer. Yes. I've got things, and so
and the passion is very clear.
Yeah,
it's very evident.
Seeing that, how we can translate that into other areas that have been kind of roped into that madness, and breaking that,
it's almost like a
cycle.
Yeah, a cycle, and it's almost like this haze that we're in, right?
Yeah.
It's there for us, and we don't even recognize it. If you're not awake or if you're blind to it, it's just your everyday. So when you posted that about the food, I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I love that connection.
Yeah. I mean, we're guilty of it. I go into store and look to see what it is. So it's not like I'm perfect and, I knew this from the start. I'm learning this, so I'm just sharing as I learn. And, us at Common Ground Collective, my whole team, and, Therese, and they're, we're all learning as we go. So I think it's just a collective effort of kind of awakening and realization that there's other ways.
Totally.
And really that this way that's happening currently is new and not working. So if we look to the past, in most indigenous societies, not everybody farmed, but there was food growing everywhere. And everybody found their ways to contribute to society. And so just because you own a property, but you have another job and you're not a farmer, that doesn't mean you can't grow food.
Yeah, I love that.
So it's just breaking those societal expectations, really.
What you're up to.
Yeah, we're rebels.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how can they find you?
So we have Instagram and Facebook, and our handle for both is at CGC Maui. And then we have our website, which is commongroundcollective.com.
Beautiful. Sweet. Well, I just want to thank you again, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you so
great
much.
Chat.
Yeah, it's so nice to...
Your passion is inspiring me, seriously. Really encouraging to see that.
Yeah, well, this is an amazing thing that you're doing to highlight community efforts and things too, so we really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you at the next one.